A shocking leaked video exposes Taehyung's alleged betrayal of Jungkook, igniting fierce confrontations, hidden truths, and emotional explosions. Tell me it's not true, Taehyung. Jungkook's voice cut through the small backstage room like a blade, leaving no space for casual denials. The tension was already so high that every word landed like a strike. Taehyung didn't respond immediately, which only poured more fuel onto Jungkook's rage. Don't just stand there. Say it. Look me in the eye and tell me that's not you in that video. You think I owe you an explanation after the way you've been talking behind my back? Taehyung shot back, his tone sharp and loaded. You've been waiting for something like this to drag me down, haven't you? Dragging you down? Jungkook's voice spiked. Do you even understand what this means? That clip, people are saying you sold me out, that you went to them and gave them everything. And HYBE is panicking because they can't scrub it fast enough. Taehyung took a step closer, his voice low but laced with venom. You think I'd hand them that? Do you think so little of me? Or is it easier for you to believe the worst, so you don't have to face the truth about what's been happening here? Jungkook's hands tightened at his sides, his breathing harsh. I saw the timestamp. I know exactly where you were, and I know you had access to the files. No one else did. That's what you think you know, Taehyung snapped. You have no idea what I've been dealing with. You've been too busy protecting your own image while I've been cleaning up your mess. What mess? Jungkook's shout echoed off the walls. I've been taking the hits for months while you slip into meetings without me and make deals? Whisper in the right ear so they turn against me? You're not listening. Taehyung's frustration cracked through his words. You're so sure the world's out to get you that you can't even see when someone's trying to protect you. That video? It's not what it looks like, but you don't want to hear that you want someone to blame. The air between them burned with words neither had said yet. Jungkook's voice dropped, almost trembling. I trusted you, Taehyung, more than anyone, and now I don't even know if I know you anymore. Taehyung's gaze didn't waver, but his reply came quieter, slower. Then maybe you should ask yourself why you're so ready to believe strangers over me. Before Jungkook could respond, the door burst open and a manager stormed in. Both of you stop this now. We have a crisis, and it's bigger than the two of you. That video's been mirrored on multiple servers already. International press is calling. If we don't unify our story, we're finished. Jungkook turned back to Taehyung, his voice now dangerously calm. Then tell me, right here, right now, what's in that video, and why does HYBE think it will destroy me? Taehyung's jaw tensed before he answered, every word deliberate. Because it's not about you. It's about what I had to do to keep you safe. Jungkook froze. Safe from what? The room fell silent again, heavy with the weight of the question. The manager's phone buzzed non-stop, but neither man moved. Finally, Taehyung spoke, his tone sharp but carrying something unshakably final. From the people you still think are on your side. Safe from the people I still think are on my side? Say their names, Jungkook said. No riddles, no vague warnings. Names. You're not ready to hear them, Taehyung replied. Then I'll start. Jungkook shot back. Is it Director Han? Is it the PR head? Is it someone in legal? Who? The manager exhaled hard. Keep your voices down. The crisis room is set up. Both of you now. They moved down a narrow hall where blue screens flickered with mirrored links and takedown notices. The air carried a low hum from stacked servers. A table was cluttered with laptops, tangled cables, open notepads, and 3 burning phones. In the middle, a paused frame of the video waited, frozen. The timestamp glaring like a dare. Yoonjin from PR didn't look up. We've filed emergency DMCA claims, but the clip is spreading on Telegram and private discords. We can't irradiate it fast enough. Play it, Jungkook said. Don't, Taehyung answered. Jungkook didn't shift. Play it. Yoonjin hit spacebar. The clip unspooled. A grainy conference room. A low voice saying a price. Another voice saying a name that didn't belong in that room. File icons sliding across a desktop. A pen tapping. A sentence. We keep Jungkook compliant. You keep the brand clean. A laugh. A handshake. The meeting log showed Taehyung's access credentials. The clip ended on a still of an open folder bearing Jungkook's initials. Jungkook didn't look away. That's your login. That's your hand. That's your signature. That's a trap, Taehyung said. And if you actually want the truth, you'll stop treating that clip like a verdict. Yoonjin glanced up. If it's a trap, you can dismantle it. We're running out of time. Fine, Taehyung said, turning to Jungkook. The file was bait. That room wasn't a normal meeting. I went in after hours with a burner badge approved by security. I promised them something real so they'd lower their guard and ask for the thing they truly wanted. They wanted access to you, to your DMs, to your contracts, to your vote. My vote? Jungkook said. For what? The upcoming renegotiation, Taehyung said. The clause about creative control. They want it gone. They want you predictable. They want your yes on paper for 3 more years. No surprises. No independent ventures. No sudden collaborations that weren't pre-cleared. Jungkook's jaw tensed. So you dangled me. I dangled a ghost of you, Taehyung countered. Metadata that looked bone, deep, real, but was laced with a tracer. The moment they exfiltrated it, the tracer pinged me and legal. We needed a signature. We needed proof. We needed a face. I was recorded because they always record when they think they're about to own you. I counted on it. I needed a copy of their hunger. End of. Yoonjin tapped a key. If you had a tracer, where's the ping log? In my drive, Taehyung said. I tried to deliver it quietly through legal. It didn't go the way it should have. Why not? Jungkook asked. Because this is the first I'm hearing about any of it. Because the moment I sent it, my access was revoked, Taehyung said. The tracer log disappeared from the shared server. The approvals vanished. The burner badge went from issued to never existed. Someone at the top saw what I did and decided to flip the narrative before you saw the receipts. And now, the clip's edited to look like I did it for real. Jungkook looked at Yoonjin. Can we verify any of that? Wonjin's fingers danced. If there was a tracer, and if it phoned home, there should be outbound calls from that machine at those times. Systems keeps call logs, but if someone sanitized them, we'll need the sysadmin to be sloppy. Call systems, the manager said. They'll say they're busy, Yoonjin replied. Then don't call. Go, the manager said. I'll cover you. Yoonjin snatched her laptop. 10 minutes. Start talking, Jungkook said to Taehyung when the door swung shut. No metaphors. Full story. Begin. I found the first crack 6 months ago, Taehyung said. A junior coordinator sent me a prep doc for an interview you didn't agree to. In it, there were answers. Your answers about a deal you never made. It was small, but it was too neat. Someone was used to writing your voice. That could be fanfic, Jungkook said. Not in a pre-approved internal document, Taehyung answered. So, I started collecting weirdness, DMs you never sent that ended up in press. Photos that looked real but had a noise pattern I didn't recognize. Meetings that were supposed to have 3 people but had 5 chairs, 5 cups, 5 signatures. And then I got an email from a single-use address that called itself Ares. Jungkook frowned. Ares? A god of war, Taehyung said. Cute, right? The message was simple. If you want the chaos to stop, give us the lever that moves him. It was about you. I ignored it. A day later, a rumor popped that you'd been drunk at an event you never attended. Then a photo followed. Perfect framing, perfect composition. You in a shirt you never wore. With someone we both know you haven't seen in 2 years. Not fake synthetic, built to pass every cheap detector but still wrong in ways you only spot if you've lived next to the real thing. Jungkook's breath steadied. Why not tell me then? Because you were already carrying too much, Taehyung said. And because I thought I could neutralize it without dragging you into the mud. I started meeting people off-grid. I wrote an internal proposal for a trap. I signed it with a director who said he'd protect us both. That signature is gone now, replaced by a screenshot that makes me look like I acted alone. Jungkook's voice thinned. Director Han, Taehyung didn't confirm or deny. I'm saying someone with the power to erase a badge erased it after I used it exactly how they told me to. And now the same someone wants the world to think I sold you out. The door opened. Yoonjin slipped back in with a small external drive clutched like a talisman. Systems didn't help, but their backup script helped me. They forgot the oldest rule. A good ghost leaves a shadow. I pulled an orphaned log from a weekly backup. She set the drive down and plugged in. The screen filled with lines, timestamps, IPs, signatures. Yoonjin pointed. Here's the burner machine ID. Here's the tracer phone. Home at 2. 7. Here's the outbound to a masked relay in Singapore. And here, 2 minutes later, is an internal admin account mass editing access logs for the same machine. Whoever scrubbed your trail left a fingerprint. Whose? Jungkook asked. It's a senior admin group key, Yoonjin said. 3 people can use it. The holder rotates quarterly. Who has it right now? The manager asked. Yoonjin named 3. One of them was Han's shadow Minyo, the quiet fixer no one noticed until everything broke. The room tightened by 1 notch. So, Jungkook said to Taehyung, you went in as bait. You recorded the monster. The monster tried to erase you. Why does the video only show you feeding them and not the part where you spring the trap? Because the honest version stayed on the internal cam, not on theirs, Taehyung said. We needed their copy to be clean or they'd suspect it. Internal security set up an over-the-shoulder to capture both sides. That's the recording I tried to submit. It's gone. Yoonjin clicked to a screenshot. Not entirely. The backup kept a checksum list of files that existed on that camera on that date. It doesn't have the video, but it has a file name, a size, and a hash fragment. If we can find any surviving fragment with that hash, we can prove a recording existed. Jungkook leaned in. So we have an invisible video that proves you weren't selling me out. And the only people who could erase it are the ones who told you to do it. That's the story? That's the beginning of the story, Taehyung said. The rest is uglier. Make it ugly, Jungkook said. I'm done being polite. Ours wanted your consent, not just your silence, Taehyung said. A consent they could wave around later when you changed your mind. They don't care about you as a person. They care about your gravitational pull. If they own your yes, they own the yes of every brand, every partner, every gatekeeper who follows you. They wanted me to be the delivery system. They wanted the message to come from someone you would never doubt. Jungkook stared at him. So they chose the person I trusted most. And instead of telling me, you decided to walk straight into their mouth. I didn't walk in, Taehyung said. I laced the path with razors and left the lights off. And you got cut too, Jungkook said. Quieter now? I expected to, Taehyung replied. I didn't expect the person holding the flashlight to switch it off from inside the room. The manager's phone vibrated again. He checked it and went still. International streamers are running the clip. The captions are using the word betrayal. It's trending. Good, Jungkook said, startling the room. Let it trend. And while it trends, we push the second video, the one that proves the setup. We don't have it, Yoonjin said. Then we fake nothing, Jungkook said. We push the logs, we push the hash, we push the backup. We push the fact that a senior admin wiped an internal camera while an external leak appeared. We tell the truth that we can prove. We don't embellish. We invite questions. We make them answer why they erased a recording if it was so clean. That's risky, Yoonjin said. Everything's risky now, Jungkook replied. He turned to Taehyung. If I go live, will you stand next to me and tell them what you did and why? Not with PR lines, with the words you used here. Yes, Taehyung said. On one condition. What? You don't forgive me on camera, Taehyung said. Not yet. Not until the truth is air. If you forgive me too soon, they'll call this a script. They'll say we planned the betrayal to sell the absolution. Jungkook nodded once. Then I won't forgive you. Not because I can't. Because we can't let them brand our honesty as product. Yoonjin pulled up a blank statement doc. We'll need bullet points. No, Jungkook said. We need sentences that breathe. We'll keep it tight, but we'll keep it human. She typed live, catching their words. Jungkook began dictating. There is a leaked video. It looks like betrayal. It looks like a sale. It is the foundation of a bigger lie, that my choices belong to people you don't see. We're going to tell you what we can prove, and we're going to show you how we'll prove the rest. We won't ask you to believe us. We'll ask you to look at the logs. Taehyung added, you will see my login in that room. You will see a folder that carries Jungkook's initials. I created a file that looks like the keys to him. That file was bait, marked with a tracer that pinged an outbound relay when it moved. 2 minutes later, an internal admin account erased the camera that would have shown why I was there. That's the sequence. Ask why a camera was wiped, if everything was clean. Yoonjin paused. We should anticipate the counters. They'll say the logs are fabricated, the manager said. They'll say the tracer is a convenient story. Then we offer the drive for third-party imaging, Yoonjin said. Digital forensics from any neutral lab. Do it, Jungkook said. Name 3 labs. Tag them. Yoonjin typed. Now the stream, the manager said. Set. Lighting. Times. No set. Jungkook answered. No mood. 1 camera. 1 table. 1 take. Questions open after we speak. We won't curate the comments. Yoonjin hesitated. That means giving room to people who will call you a liar in real time. Good, Jungkook said. Let them call me one to my face. Let me answer in the same room they're trying to burn down. Taehyung looked at him. You sure? No, Jungkook said. But I'm done letting fear pick my tone. The manager checked the clock. 20 minutes to the top of the hour. That's the window. Yoonjin pulled cables, cleared the table, tested audio, checked the feed key. She glanced at Taehyung. When he speaks, don't interrupt. When it's your turn, don't defend yourself with adjectives. Use nouns, names, dates, files. I know, Taehyung said. And no surprises, she warned. I can't promise that, he said. Try. The red light blinked a countdown. The stream started. Jungkook spoke first. No preamble. You've seen the clip. It looks like betrayal. It looks like a sale. It uses familiarity like a weapon. I won't insult your intelligence by telling you not to trust your eyes. I'm going to ask you to trust your curiosity. Ask why the clip exists at all. Ask why the internal camera that should have recorded the whole context doesn't exist anymore. He pointed to the screen share. Yoonjin flipped to the log. This is a call log of a tracer ping after a file moved from an internal machine to an outside relay at 2:7. This is an admin account editing access logs at 2:9. And this is a checksum list proving a security camera file existed and was later missing. We've sent the drive to 3 independent labs. We'll publish their reports. He looked at Taehyung. Your turn. Taehyung leaned toward the mic. I made the file you saw in that clip. I made it to lure out the people who've been planting synthetic narratives about him for months. I walked into a room I shouldn't have, with a badge that shouldn't exist, approved by people who pretended to protect us. I expected to bleed for it. I didn't expect someone inside to erase the camera that would have shown you the part where the same people asked me for a lever they could hold over him. Comments poured in. A torrent of accusation, relief, disbelief, sarcasm, questions that stung, questions that landed. Jungkook didn't shy from them. A comment flashed. If this is true, name 1 name. Jungkook read it aloud. They're asking for a name. Taehyung said, Minyo. The manager moved, as if to stop him. Taehyung was immovable. Minho has held a rotating admin key twice in the last 2 years. He's been in rooms where he doesn't speak and in threads where he deletes without asking. If I vanish after this, remember that name. I'm not saying he's the only one. I'm saying he's the first thread. The chat combusted. The manager swore under his breath. Yoonjin typed a quick disclaimer. Allegations, investigation, independent verification. The stream did not blink. A low, tight voice came through a new channel Legal patched in. You just incurred significant liability. Jungkook answered without looking away from the lens. Then we'll pay it with receipts. The questions accelerated. Why now? Why hide this from Jungkook? Why trust Taehyung at all? Why should anyone believe a tracer? Jungkook answered each evenly. Why now? Because the clip forced us. Why hide it? Because I thought I could carry what I had to carry without making him carry it too. Why trust him? Because if he wanted my yes, he could have taken it quietly years ago when I was easier to move. Why believe a tracer? Don't. Believe a report from a lab with no stake in this. We'll publish all of it. A new comment pinned itself with a donation. It asked a simple thing. If Taehyung's plan was real, what was Jungkook supposed to do to finish it? Jungkook answered. Sign nothing. Speak when we could prove. Refuse to panic when panic is the product. Taehyung added, and remember who taught you to sing when the room was empty. The manager mouthed, don't get poetic. Taehyung shrugged. Yoonjin switched the view to a blistering list of mirrored links. We can't stop the clip, she said into the room, mic off. But we can drown it in context. The door opened. Director Han stood there, expressionless, eyes like flat glass. He didn't step into frame. End this stream now, he said. You're exposing the company to unacceptable risk. Jungkook didn't mute. He let the mic carry Han's words to the audience. "Say that again," he said. Han didn't flinch. "End this stream now." Taehyung sat forward. "Director Han, were you aware that the internal security camera footage from the bait meeting is missing?" Han's gaze moved once. To the screen, to the log, back to them. "No." "Then you'll welcome an independent forensic review," Jungkook said calmly. "And you'll welcome our naming the labs publicly." "You do not speak for the company," Han said. "I'm not speaking for the company," Jungkook replied. "I'm speaking for myself, and for the truth I can prove." Han's voice went quiet. "You're making a mistake." "Maybe," Jungkook said. "But the bigger mistake would be to let a cut version of the story replace the whole one." Han looked at Taehyung. "You're done." Taehyung's mouth tightened. "If that's a termination, send it in writing." "It's a directive," Han said. "Then direct me with a paper trail I can forward to 3 labs and 2 reporters who haven't failed us yet," Taehyung answered. Han's stare said all the things he couldn't say with the stream live. He left without another word. The chat exploded again, devouring the moment from 10 angles at once. Jungkook raised a hand, not to quiet them, but to signal he was still here. Still watching. "We're going to close the stream in 5 minutes. Before we do, we're going to show you one more thing." Yoonjin pulled up a small grid of stills. Screenshots of emails with errors in the subject line, heavily redacted headers, clear timestamps. These are the emails Taehyung received. "We can't show content yet because of an ongoing negotiation with law enforcement. But the headers matter. They map to the same masked relay the tracer pinged." A comment floated up. "Why not go straight to the police?" "We are," Jungkook said. "But our careers don't pause while we wait for a case number to mean something. People will decide before the paperwork finishes. We're giving you what we have now, so you can decide with more than a cut clip and a trending headline." Another comment. "Do you forgive him?" Jungkook looked at Taehyung and then back to the lens. "I said earlier that I won't forgive him on camera. That hasn't changed. Not because I don't love him, not because I doubt him, but because I refuse to let anyone sell our reconciliation as a product." Taehyung's voice cut in. Steady. "That's his line, not mine. If you need a word from me, here it is. I chose to be the knife that cut me. If you hate me for it, I'll hold the hate until the proof arrives." Yoonjin put up the closing slide. 3 lab names, 2 case numbers, 1 email address for press. "Final words," the manager whispered. Jungkook nodded. "To everyone who has already judged us, keep judging. But judge us on everything, not just on a clip designed to starve you of context. We'll see you with receipts." He cut the feed. Silence held for a second. Then phones roared back to life, debates detonating across every app like syncopated thunder. Yoonjin looked wrecked but focused, already sorting requests. The manager paced small circles, muttering about legal, statements, risk calculations. Jungkook turned to Taehyung. "You said there was more. You said it gets uglier. Show me." Taehyung pulled a thin notebook from his jacket and slid it across the table. Inside were printed chat fragments, receipts with partial card numbers, screenshots of calendar invites that didn't belong to either of them but referenced them both with surgical accuracy. There were annotations in the margins, short, sharp, methodical. "Ours isn't one person," Taehyung said. "It's a machine that runs on favors and fear. There's a node inside PR, maybe small, maybe just someone who thinks survival means picking the winning narrative early. There's a node in legal that specializes in erasing approvals after they're used. And there's a node outside third-party vendors, brand liaisons, people who love the idea of proximity more than they care about the truth. They grease the gears with plausible deniability." "And Minho?" Jungkook asked. "Minho is the stitcher," Taehyung said. "He takes the synthetic and the real and sews them together so the seam doesn't show. He's quiet because quiet men are trusted by default." The manager sagged into a chair. "If even half of this is right, the next week will be hell." "It's already hell," Jungkook said. "We just decided to walk through it with the lights on." Yoonjin glanced up from her laptop. The labs responded. "One will pick up the drive in an hour. Another wants a chain of custody doc. The third is asking for a full disk image." "Give them everything," Jungkook said. "And press?" Yoonjin asked. "Give them access," Jungkook said. "But no exclusives. No chosen ones. We don't reward the loudest. We reward the fairest." The manager rubbed his temples. Han will come back with a bigger stick. Then he'll have to swing it in public, Jungkook said. We're done with shadows. Taehyung closed the notebook. I owe you another truth. Go on, Jungkook said. I was afraid, Taehyung said. Not of them, of losing you. I thought if I kept you clean, if I took the dirt myself, you'd never have to look at me and see the stain. That's why I didn't tell you. It wasn't noble. It was fear wrapped in strategy. Jungkook absorbed that. Thank you for saying it out loud. I'll say it again if I have to, Taehyung said. You won't, Jungkook replied. Once was enough. Yoonjin's phone chimed. One more thing. Someone just sent a link with an unlisted video. The subject line says, "Here's your context." Open it, the manager said. Yoonjin hesitated. It could be a trap. So is breathing right now, Jungkook said. Open it. She clicked. The video loaded to a blank gray screen. A mechanical voice began to speak, distorted but clear enough to understand. You wanted the rest of the footage. We did too. You were never supposed to see it. But someone on the inside isn't as loyal as Minho thinks. The gray gave way to a second angle of the same meeting room from the viral clip. A wide shot. The handshake. The pen. And then the part the public never saw. Two figures entering from the side door, faces obscured by the camera's crop, asking for deliverables that sounded less like business and more like ownership. Words that made the motivation plain. We own the narrative, or we own him. The camera timecode matched the missing internal feed's timestamp. Yoonjin froze the frame. It's not the internal cam, she said, voice low. Different lens, but it shows the side of the conversation the clip didn't. It corroborates the shape of the missing piece. Who sent it? The manager asked. Yoonjin looked at the sender field. No trace. Burned metadata. But the title says one word. Thread. Jungkook stood very still. Then we pull it. We post this? Yoonjin asked. It's illegally obtained. We don't post it, Jungkook said. We send it to the labs with the drive. We send it to the same reporters. We say we received it and we want it authenticated before we speak about it again. And we thank the sender without pretending we know who they are. The manager gave a thin nod. That's the least dangerous option. Taehyung looked at Jungkook. If this is real, you'll see what I saw when I walked into that room. I already do, Jungkook said. And I see something else too. I see exactly who we are when someone tries to script us. And who is that? Taehyung asked. Not the kind of people who sell each other, Jungkook said. The phones kept ringing. The chat kept boiling. The world did what it always does when given two versions of the same story and asked to choose. But inside that room, a line had been drawn, not for an audience, not for a headline, but for the two people who mattered most to each other. Yoonjin started a new email thread to the labs, subject chain of custody. She listed serial numbers, hash fragments, timestamps. She attached the unlisted video link without commentary. She CC'd legal with a note that said only, for transparency. The manager checked the door, as if expecting Han to return with backup. He didn't. Not yet. Taehyung broke the silence. When this is over, you can decide if you still want me next to you. When this is over, Jungkook said, we'll both know exactly what Next costs and why it's worth paying. Taehyung nodded once. Not a performance. Not a plea. Just a promise that didn't need music to be heard. Then we work, Jungkook said. We keep telling the part we can prove, and we keep looking for the part we can't. And if the part we can't prove stays dark? Yoonjin asked, eyes on the drive like it was a fuse that hadn't yet reached the flame. Then we become very patient, Jungkook said. And very stubborn, Taehyung added. And very hard to move. No one spoke for a while after that. In the quiet, the shape of their next steps became simple. Not easy, not safe, simple. They sent the drive. They wrote the emails. They opened their calendars and made room for questions that wouldn't be friendly. They did not practice apologies they weren't ready to give. And when the stream's aftershocks swept the feeds with fresh storms, love, hate, confusion, conspiracy, they didn't correct the emotions. They corrected the facts. They let the feelings do what feelings do. They let the truth take the longer road. The door stayed closed. The light stayed on. The two of them stayed in the same room, not as absolution, not as optics, but as a decision. We keep it simple, Jungkook said, standing over the conference table that had turned into a battlefield of drives, printouts, and incoming calls. Facts first, Feelings later. Feelings are already here, Taehyung replied. They just don't care about the order. Then we give them something that doesn't need permission to stand, Jungkook said. Proof. Yoonjin slid a new email across the screen. First Lab accepted the chain of custody. They're cloning the drive. They estimate preliminary notes in 24 hours. We don't wait, the manager said. Han will try to pull the plug before that. Let him try on camera, Jungkook answered. If he shuts us down, he'll have to say why. The door opened without a knock. Minho stepped in with a neutral face and a badge that opened every lock in the building. Director Han requests your presence upstairs, he said. Urgent board huddle. 15 minutes. Jungkook didn't move. We'll go. But before we do, I want something on record. Minho blinked. Record where? Here, Jungkook said, and he tapped the phone that was already streaming to a low-profile account with comments disabled. You're live to a storage account with no followers and a private link. It doesn't matter if you shut off the building's internet. This will auto-export when it reconnects. Minho's tone didn't change. That violates internal media policy. So does erasing a security camera, Taehyung said. I assume you found the policy exception for that. Minho didn't answer. He gestured to the door. The board is waiting. We'll walk with you, Jungkook said. But the recorder walks too. They took the elevator. No music, no small talk. The boardroom looked like an operating theater without the blood, and that was the only mercy in it. Han sat at the head. 4 other directors lined the sides. Legal watched from a corner with a notepad that would later be called minutes. Han didn't invite them to sit. This is an internal review, he said. We need to contain the reputational damage and assess the risk profile created by your livestream. Jungkook spoke first. Fine. Assess it with me in the room. I'm not a variable in a spreadsheet. I'm the subject. We are the subject, Taehyung added. If you want a clean narrative, scrub us in front of us. A director cleared her throat. Mr. Jean, Mr. Kim, you've alleged interference with internal security logs and the disappearance of footage. You've named an employee. Are you prepared to support those claims with more than speculation and conveniently timed anonymous links? Yes, Jungkook said. We've provided drive images and log files to 3 independent labs. We've invited press to verify chain of custody. We've pushed forensics outside your walls because your walls are compromised. Han laced his fingers. You've also exposed confidential architecture to the public. I exposed a timeline, Jungkook said. Not the architecture. The choices. Another director leaned forward. Mr. Kim, did you or did you not create a file designed to appear as if it granted access to Mr. Jeon's private materials? I did, Taehyung said, on instruction from an internal green light that has since vanished. That's why we're here. The approval exists as an absence. Han nodded to legal. Please read the relevant clause. Legal recited without looking up. All experimental security operations must be approved in writing by the Chief Security Office and 1 director-level executive. Absence of approval is treated as absence of operation. Jungkook pointed at the table. And absence of a camera is treated as absence of context. But the camera existed. The checksum proves it. We're not here because we took a risk. We're here because someone deleted the evidence of why the risk made sense. Minho spoke for the first time. You're mischaracterizing an internal cleanup. Backups are imperfect. Naming me publicly was reckless. Reckless was erasing the over-the-shoulder recording that would have kept this entire company honest, Taehyung said. Reckless is asking for a lever to move him and calling it brand protection. Han's tone cut like a gate snapping shut. Enough. Here is what will happen. Effective immediately. Both of you will cease all unsanctioned public communications. All materials, including your external drive, will be returned to legal for review. This is a directive. No, Jungkook said. Silence hit the table like a gavel. Han didn't blink. Excuse me? No, Jungkook repeated. We already sent the drive. Labs already have it. They will issue their notes independent of your review. If you want to respond, respond with your own logs. Respond with the missing camera. Respond with the name of the person who authorized the bait operation and then erase their own signature. You will not dictate terms to this board, Han said. I'm not dictating, Jungkook said. I'm refusing to be managed like a rumor. A director who hadn't spoken yet broke the stalemate. Mr. Han, with respect, ordering silence after a leak doubles the speculation. If there is internal wrongdoing, We need daylight, not curtains. Han pivoted slowly. And if there isn't? Then daylight clears us faster than a memo, the director said. Minyo's jaw set. I request counsel. Counsel is present, legal said. And counsel advises everyone to stop speaking in the conditional. Taehyung leaned in, steady. Then, let's speak plainly. A program calling itself Airs approached me through throwaway channels. Airs is not one person. It's a cluster. It's inside this building. It coordinated synthetic assets to create pressure. It wanted his signature on a clause that would neutralize his autonomy for 3 years. I said yes to a trap because I believed someone in this building would have my back. They did, until they didn't. Now I'm the villain in a cut clip that hides the demand they made when they thought no one was watching. Han stared at him. You realize you are accusing your own house? No, Taehyung said. I'm diagnosing it. The director who favored daylight spoke again. Mr. Han, I move that we appoint an outside investigator with full access to the systems referenced, that we suspend any employee with admin keys referenced in these logs pending review, and that we make an interim public statement acknowledging both the leak and the internal audit. Han's voice thinned. Second? No one spoke. Jungkook filled the void. If you don't second it, I will read the motion aloud to the press myself and ask why you didn't. A second came from the far end. Grudging but real. A vote followed. The ayes carried by 1. Han didn't hide his displeasure. Minho, surrender your keys pending review. Legal will coordinate the handoff. Minho's eyes flickered once, then settled. Under protest. Noted, legal said. The board dispersed on pretexts that sounded like work and felt like retreat. Han paused in the doorway. You think this is victory? He said to Jungkook. It isn't. It's exposure. Good, Jungkook said. I'm tired of breathing stale air. Han left. They took the elevator back down without speaking. When the doors slid open, Yoonjin was waiting with a tight list. Press conference in 2 hours. 3 outlets already have panelists lined up to call you liars. One lab says they found what they're calling anomalous edits in the access logs at exactly the time we flagged. Define anomalous, the manager said. Time-stamped drift with a matching pattern across unrelated machines, Yoonjin replied. If you wanted to hide a deletion wave, you'd smear the clock. Do they have the missing video? Jungkook asked. Not yet, Yoonjin said. But the unlisted angle you received lines up with the timecode on the missing internal feed. If they authenticate the lens profile, we can argue corroboration. Taehyung took a breath, like it was a decision. I'm going to call him. Who? Yoonjin asked. The person who signed my burner badge, Taehyung said. He won't answer an email. He might answer my voice. The call connected on the 4th try. A muffled hello. A name, Director Seo. The one who always smiled in photos and never said anything risky on record. Seo, Taehyung said. I need you to confirm authorization for the bait operation. Seo didn't stumble. I didn't authorize anything. You did, Taehyung said. I have a copy of your approval. I printed it the night you signed it. The digital version is gone. Your signature on a piece of paper is not. Silence. Then, carefully. You printed an internal clearance without telling me? You told me not to tell anyone, Taehyung said. So, I listened. I just didn't listen the way you expected. Seo's tone tightened. You're putting me in an impossible position. I'm giving you a way out of a worse one, Taehyung said. If you're under pressure, say so. If you're afraid, say that too. Don't burn me to keep someone else warm. Seo spoke through his teeth. You don't understand what you're stirring. Then say it clearly, Taehyung said. Say what I don't understand. I can't, Seo said. Not yet. Then hear me, Taehyung replied. The labs are already looking. The board voted an outside review. Han suspended Minho. If you stall now, you become the hinge that breaks. Seo exhaled. Send me the print. I already sent it to the labs, Taehyung said. You'll get it when they publish. That protects you. Decide what side of the release you want to be on. The line went quiet. Then, I'll call you back. He didn't promise when. He hung up like someone closing a door softer than the situation deserved. Jungkook watched him. You had a printed copy of the approval this entire time? I had a printed copy of a draft, Taehyung said. It's not signed with ink. It's signed with a digital watermark that shows through on a certain printer model. Old trick. New stakes. Yoonjin's phone pinged. The first panelist list is out. One analyst says the tracer's story is too convenient. Another says the missing camera is PR theater. The third says your relationship is a brand and the fight is a campaign. Jungkook's reply was flat. Then we don't argue about our relationship. We argue about the logs. And we accept that people who make money calling everything fake will call this fake too. The manager put a bottle of water between them and didn't mention drinking it. We need to write the press conference. Not lines, lanes. Jungkook nodded. Lane 1, what we know. Lane 2, what we don't know. Lane 3, what we're doing to find out. No adjectives. Don't sanitize yourself, Yoonjin warned. People trust pain more than polish. I'm not sanitizing, Jungkook said. I'm refusing to sell the pain. Taehyung tapped his notebook. One more thing before we go on stage. You deserve an apology in a place that isn't crowded. You already gave me the reason, Jungkook said. Not the apology. I'm sorry, Taehyung said. Not for the trap. For deciding I knew what you could carry without asking you. Jungkook let it sit. Thank you. I'm not ready to forgive you, but I'm ready to stand with you. That's enough, Taehyung said. More than I deserve. The press room filled faster than bad news. Microphones multiplied. Questions sharpened themselves before they were asked. Jungkook stepped to the table with no entourage. Taehyung sat beside him, not behind. Yoonjin stood where she could cut off the nonsense and invite the real. Jungkook began. You already know why we're here. A video is moving through your feeds. It looks like betrayal. It looks like a sale. It is part of a larger attempt to write our choices for us. We are not asking you to ignore what you saw. We're asking you to add what you didn't. Reporters jumped at once. You named an employee. Isn't that irresponsible without a completed investigation? Jungkook didn't flinch. We named a key. The key belongs to a group. The group was used at the same time a camera disappeared. An outside investigator has been appointed. That was not our decision. That was the board's. Mr. Kim, did you fabricate access to Mr. Jeon's private materials? I fabricated bait, Taehyung said. The difference matters. Bait is designed to be eaten by something that already exists. So you're claiming to be heroes? A voice sneered. No, Jungkook said. We're claiming to be accountable. Is ours real? Another asked. Or is that a name you invented to scare people? Ours is a label for a behavior, Taehyung said. You've seen the behavior. Synthetic narratives, convenient rumors, pressure applied at hinges. If you need a face to believe something exists, you'll keep missing the system designed to have many faces. Do you regret going live before the company could respond? Someone else pressed. I regret not knowing sooner that the company wouldn't protect the context, Jungkook said. Going live made silence expensive. Do you love each other? A tabloid called out. Fishing for heat it could bottle. Jungkook glanced at Taehyung. We don't answer that on your terms, he said. We answer it by not leaving each other alone in rooms like this. The tide of questions kept coming. Some fair, some bait. Yoonjin filtered just enough to keep the exchange honest. When a reporter accused them of staging a crisis for attention, Taehyung's voice didn't rise. If I wanted attention, I would have picked a brighter room. They finished when repetition took over and the story began to eat its own tail. They left without a flourish. Back in the crisis room, a new email waited from the lab. Yoonjin opened it and read fast. Preliminaries in. They confirm external tracer pings from the bait machine. They confirm admin log edits at the flagged time. They can't recover the missing camera yet, but they verified the checksum list is legitimate. And this is big, they authenticated the lens profile of the unlisted video. Different device, same room, matching timecode drift. Jungkook exhaled once. So we have independent correlation. We have weight, Yoonjin said. Not the whole statue, enough to dent a lie. The manager looked almost relieved. Han will hate that. Han can hate it in writing, Jungkook said. He can also cooperate. Yoonjin's screen flashed again. A new message. Subject, I was wrong. The sender, Director CO. She opened it. A single paragraph. CO acknowledged the draft authorization. He attached a sworn statement, short, dry, clear, confirming that he had reviewed and verbally approved the operation pending a digital signature that failed to register for reasons under review. He copied legal. He CC'd the board. Jungkook, read it twice. He moved. He blinked, Taehyung said. Sometimes a blink is all the air you need. The manager sat down as if the chair had finally agreed to hold him. We put this out now? Not as a victory lap, Jungkook said. As a continuation of the record. They published the lab's preliminary note and CO's statement without headlines or adjectives. Just documents. Just timestamps. Just a line at the top that said, "This is what we know today." The reaction split, as reaction does. Some people changed their minds. Some doubled down. Some admitted they didn't know. That last group mattered more than anyone wanted to admit. Minho sent a single-line message through legal. I deny wrongdoing. He did not ask for an apology. He did not threaten. He did not vanish. Han requested a closed-door follow-up. They declined the closed door and offered a room with a single camera that would not be turned off. Han didn't accept. He didn't refuse. He rearranged his calendar and did not show. Night came, or something that felt like the end of a day without needing the sky to say so. The phones slowed but never slept. The worst heat moved to corners where outrage lives year-round. The center cooled, just slightly. Taehyung and Jungkook stayed in the room long after everyone else drifted to their edges. No speeches, no choreography. Just the unglamorous labor of looping back through timelines and naming what still didn't make sense. Jungkook spoke first. Tomorrow we'll get more notes from the labs. Some will help us, some won't. None of it will fix the part where I saw your login next to my initials and thought the worst. I know, Taehyung said. I put that picture in front of your eyes. I don't ask you to unsee it. I ask you not to let it be the only picture. It's not, Jungkook said. Not anymore. They went over the next steps until the path was a short list that fit inside a single breath. Publish the next lab update. Cooperate with the outside investigator. Refuse to be cornered by questions that change the subject. Rest long enough to make the next right call. Before they left, Jungkook turned to him. We won't make a romance out of survival, he said. We'll make a practice out of it. Taehyung nodded. Practice is slower than spectacle. Good, Jungkook said. I'm done with spectacle. They put away the notebooks. They powered down exactly one screen and left the others running because distrust doesn't clock out when you do. They didn't stage a hug. They didn't swear oaths. They didn't give the world the ending it knows how to monetize. They gave each other a quiet yes to the next necessary thing. And for that night, it was enough. Don't sit, Jungkook said, halting Minho halfway to a chair. If you've got an answer, say it standing. Minho kept his hands visible. I already surrendered my keys. You surrendered a copy, Taehyung said. Not the memory of what they open. Outside investigator May Park placed a small recorder on the table and clicked it on without ceremony. We start with the timestamps, she said. 2, 7 tracer ping. 2, 9 admin log edits. 2, 12 camera checksum disappears from index. Mr. Minho, which of those 3 is your shadow? Minho didn't look at the recorder. None. Then who? Jungkook asked. Pick a shadow. Any shadow. We'll follow. Your premise is wrong, Minho replied. There was no camera to erase. Taehyung slid a printed sheet forward. Checksum list for Security Cam C17. File name, OTS. Ops room, 424. Size, 3.1 GB. Hash fragment, 9F2. D4A. Present at 1:50. 9. Absent at 2:15. The list was generated by a maintenance script you pushed last quarter. Minho scanned it, unmoved. A maintenance script that sometimes indexes phantom entries. You're pinning your entire innocence on a glitch. May Park tilted her head. Good. Glitches leave patterns. I pulled 4 weeks of index logs for C17. It's phantom-free, except the hour of your operation. The only time the script recorded something that was never there was the night the tracer pinged. Want to revise your answer? Minho kept his posture blank. No, Jungkook spoke softly. You're not worried you'll be caught. You're worried you're invisible. Being named dragged you into a light you didn't earn. That line will play well on your fan edits, Minho said. But you're still improvising a conspiracy you can't prove. Taehyung leaned forward just enough to make the distance between words smaller. We're not improvising, we're recalling. Start recalling with us. Who changed the clock drift on the ops machines that night? I don't know, Minho said. You do, Jungkook shot back. You just think you'll keep the company if you keep the company's secrets. May clicked the recorder off and then on again deliberately. Off the record doesn't exist here, she said. On the record, my preliminary finding is that your internal logs were manipulated to hide the removal of evidence. If the board declines to cooperate, my report goes to the 3 labs, your insurers, and any regulator with jurisdiction. This is not a loyalty test. It's arithmetic. Do you understand, Mr. Privers? Minho? Minho's eyes moved once, the only concession he made to surprise. I want counsel, he said. Counsel is welcome, May replied. Counsel can explain chain of custody to you. Meanwhile, don't leave the building. He almost smiled. I'm not the one who needs to run. Jungkook didn't look away. Then don't. Minho left with footsteps that tried to sound ordinary. May waited for the door to latch and turned to Taehyung. Show me the thread video again. Full screen. Lowest compression. Yoonjin cued it. The second angle of the meeting room filled the monitor. The handshake. The pen. Then the part that mattered. The side door opening, 2 figures half cut by the frame asking for a lever. The audio wasn't perfect, but the intent was unmistakable. May pointed to the upper corner. Lens distortion warp barrel at 28 millimeters. This is not your internal dome camera. It's an external mirror. Someone parked a hidden device inside the room to capture what the official cam would miss. Whoever sent this wanted you to know the official cam existed and was erased, and wanted us to know they could see around corners, Taehyung said, which means they were close. Or angry, May said. Anger creates informants, sometimes briefly, sometimes forever. Yoonjin's phone buzzed. The second lab just pinged, she said. They confirmed the tracer packet hit a relay in Singapore that's linked to a cluster used by boutique reputation firms, not the cheap smear factories, the white glove ones who prefer the phrase narrative optimization. Jungkook gave a short nod. Then ours buys clean. Ours is a marketplace, Taehyung said. Different sellers, same appetite. The manager stepped in with a tight face. You need to see this, he said, throwing a tablet down. The headline was blunt. Exclusive Taehyung's private messages show double life. The screen scrolled with blurred-out avatars and a parade of DMs that read like confessions engineered by a committee. Yoonjin skimmed 2 lines and shook her head. Language model fingerprints. Same punctuation rhythm. Same habit of using anyways. And ellipses in patterns that don't map to his writing. This is synthetic. They're escalating. Minho? The manager asked. No, May said. Minho handles the plumbing. This is the decorators. Jungkook put the tablet aside like it was a dish he refused to eat. We don't chase every fake. We pick our battleground. I'll issue a single denial, Yoonjin said. Then redirect to the labs. If they want to debate flavor, they can do it without us. The door opened again. Director Han walked in without knocking because doors were a suggestion to him. You have 5 minutes, he said to May. Then legal needs you upstairs. May didn't look up. Legal can walk. This is still my house, Han said. No, Jungkook answered. It's our workplace. That matters. Han's attention shifted like a sensor. You invited an outside investigator to interrogate my staff in a crisis room on company property. The board invited me, May corrected. I'm not interrogating, I'm documenting. If you don't like the verbs, try cooperating. Han ignored her and faced Taehyung. You made yourself a martyr. It plays well. I made myself bait, Taehyung said. It bled. Han stepped closer. You stepped out of your lane. Then you dragged us with you. Jungkook's reply was a calm blade. Our lane is truth. Your lane is control. They're not the same road. For the first time, Han's face showed a strain in his voice that didn't make it to his mouth. You think you're teaching me a lesson? You're not. You're forcing my hand. On camera, Jungkook said. With logs. Han lowered his volume by half, which somehow made it louder. You want a name? Is that what it will take to put this down before it spills into contracts we can't afford to lose? Give one, Taehyung said. Give the right one. Han studied him as if calculating interest. Minho is disposable. He's a technician. Punish him and the machine keeps humming. Then tell us about the machine, May said. Who winds it? Where's the crank? Han let the silence stretch just long enough to become a choice. You're not ready, he said finally. You want a villain with a surname and an inbox. What you have is a budget. Jungkook didn't blink. Whose budget? Han looked at May, perhaps to see if she would protect him from the answer. She didn't. He exhaled, a small surrender that wasn't kindness. A discretionary fund in brand integrity, he said. Authorized by a subcommittee. I don't sign those lines, I sign the results. Names, May said. Lisa Kang, external strategy, Han replied. Phil Wu, liaison, and a third seat that rotates per quarter to keep fingerprints light. Yoonjin typed them as he spoke. Kang and Wu, she said. We've crossed Wu in email chains. Kang hid behind vendor names. Pull their threads, Han said. Then ask why the revenue lines look smoother in quarters where the internet thinks your star is manageable. Because they bought a leash, Taehyung said. Han's voice came down to gravel. Because they learned to call it a harness. Jungkook took a step around the table as if closing a loop around himself. Did you know about the bait operation before it happened? Han's answer was too fast to be false. No. Did you know afterward? Jungkook asked. Han's pause was narrow and damning. Yes. And you erased the camera? Taehyung said. I don't touch cameras, Han snapped. Then, quieter. I told someone to clean up a mess. They cleaned too much. Who? May asked. Find out, Han replied. You wanted a hunt. Hunt. He went to the door, then stopped and turned, not for drama, but because he had remembered the one thing he had wanted to say all along. You think this ends in a reveal and applause? He said. It ends in policies and smaller rooms. If you can live with that, keep going. We'll live with the rooms we deserve, Jungkook said. After Han left, the room's tension redistributed instead of dissolving. May was already drafting a list. I want access to the brand integrity budget line items in all email that references external optimization and narrative alignment. I want Wu's calendar, Kang's vendor contracts, and the procurement approvals for third-party moderation services. Yoonjin, send the request from the board's new oversight alias. If they stall, we publish the stall. On it, Yoonjin said. The manager hovered. And Minho? Keep him close until he runs, May said. People who believe they're scapegoats commit useful mistakes. Taehyung's phone vibrated on the table. A new message from an unknown number. You want a face? Lobby, 20 minutes. Ask for coffee. Thread. He slid the phone to Jungkook without commentary. Jungkook read it once and nodded. We go, he said. May held up a finger. We go, but not alone. And we leave a breadcrumb that isn't digital. She tore a strip from her notepad and wrote the time, location, and thread in ink, then handed it to the manager. If we don't ping in 30 minutes, you call me, then call press. Press? The manager said, alarmed. Yes, May replied. Sunlight makes kidnappings inconvenient. They went to the lobby. No theatrics, no disguises. Just two people who looked like themselves and one investigator who looked like the job. The cafe kiosk hissed. The barista glanced up and then down, deciding not to recognize them because recognition would require choosing a side. A person already sat at a small table by the far wall, with a paper cup in front of them. Hoodie, cap, mask hallmarks of anonymity that were less disguise than request. They didn't wave. They didn't need to. Something about the economy of their stillness told onlookers. Not a fan, not a selfie risk, not here for a story anyone would enjoy hearing. Thread? May asked, stopping a safe distance away. The person nodded once. Their voice was modified through a throat mic. I don't have long. Good, Jungkook said. We don't either. The person slid a tiny envelope across the table. Two things, they said. A print from a printer that shouldn't have been used, and a line item from a budget that shouldn't exist. Taehyung didn't touch it. Why help us? Because I work for a machine that pretends it's a conscience, Thread said. And because it doesn't care who it eats. Who are you? Jungkook asked. Someone who doesn't want to be a warning in your next song, Thread said. Don't look for me. Look for the person who approves purple expenses. Purple? May repeated. Thread's chest moved like a laugh cut into pieces. The color code for projects no one is supposed to audit. Purple. You'll find it under a procurement alias. The alias is Hestia. You like your gods, Taehyung said. They like theirs more, Thread replied. Ours buys leverage. Hestia launders it. Names, May said. Thread shook their head. Hestia isn't a person. It's a kitchen. Too many cooks to count. Start with Kang. She signed a purple purchase order 2 months ago. Line description. Sentiment maintenance. Vendor. Listed as Vestry Media. Vestry doesn't exist. The money landed anyway. Where? Jungkook asked. Thread tilted their head toward the envelope. In there, the routing path, the name of the holding company, the authorized signer. Why give this to us and not to the outside investigator? May asked. Thread's voice softened. Because outside investigators get neutralized with briefings they can't quote and lunches they can't refuse. Artists get punished in public. It's harder to hide that. Will they come after you? Taehyung said. They already have, Thread answered. That's why you're seeing me with a voice that isn't mine. May reached for the envelope, slow. We'll verify everything. You'll find more than you wanted, Thread said. If you stop when it gets uncomfortable, I wasted my time. We won't stop, Jungkook said. Thread stood. Then survive the part where the people who love you ask why you're burning their dream. They don't love a dream if it needs a lie to breathe, Jungkook said. Thread didn't answer. They left with the same precision they'd arrived, disappearing into ordinary motion like a magician who hates applause. Back upstairs, May opened the envelope with a pen cap and slipped the contents onto the table. A thermal paper receipt emerged, the kind that fades if you leave it in sunlight too long. It was stamped with a departmental copier ID. It recorded the printing of a document titled Authorization Addendum Bait Protocol, time-stamped the night of the operation. Below it, a second sheet, a scan of a purchase order listed Sentiment Maintenance Q2 Pilot, Vendor Vestry Media, Project Code Per Hestia, 4, Approver L, Kang, routing to a numbered account through a holding company called Paladin Gate Limited.